Varmt välkommen till Digitala Aktiekvällen och Aktiespararna. Vi ska nu få lyssna på Thomas Feldthus som är vd för Saniona. Varsågod Thomas.
Thank you. Tak for Aktiesparerne og for at invitere mig og for investorerne som lytter til denne præsentation. So my name is Thomas Feldthus. I started as CEO for Saniona on the 2nd of May. I have worked at C-level, at a board level within the life science industry for more than 20 years. I'm co-founder of Saniona and I've been CFO and VVD for the company from 2012 to 2020. I took the company public in Sweden and listed it on Nasdaq Stockholm main market in 2016. I have significant experience with business development. In Saniona alone, I've made several collaboration agreements, out-licensing deals, spin-outs, and joint ventures. I decided to leave Saniona in March 20 in relation to the implementation of Saniona's go-to-market strategy. After Saniona, I have worked at board levels for several companies. And I'm now back as CEO to oversee Saniona's refocused strategy on ion channel research and clinical development, and to explore partnering opportunities to advance the lead assets. So Saniona today is listed at Nasdaq Stockholm main market, and we are a clinical stage biotech company focused on developing therapies for rare diseases. We have many highly valuable preclinical and clinical assets which provide multiple possible pathways forward. We have a unique drug discovery platform which will provide a steady stream of new clinical compounds to build our pipeline. And we have several clinical assets including SAN903 which will be ready for phase 1 this year, and SAN711, where we are completing phase 1 study very soon. And then Tesomet, which has completed 2 phase 2A studies with proof of concept, and it is now ready for phase 2B studies. We are currently planning to develop SAN903 internally and to out-license SAN711 and Tesomet. However, it may end up differently, and I will come back to this a little later. Before that, I think it would be appropriate to step 2 years back. So, during the last 2 years, Saniona has aimed to become a commercial stage biotech company based on its lead assets, Tesomet, and this strategy implied a US corporate headquarters and US Nasdaq listing. This spring, it became clear that this strategy has failed. The planned phase 2 studies were put on hold, and the US Nasdaq listing was no longer an option. So market cap has dropped significantly over the last 18 months without any clinical failures. And in April, market cap was just 100 million Swedish, which was less than the quarterly burn rate. And everybody could see that this is not sustainable. I'm now back as CEO for Saniona to turn this situation around. I'm a founder. I know this company. It's a fine company. It's a fantastic pipeline. It has a great platform and many highly talented people. So I'm sure we will succeed. The low market cap does not reflect the value of these assets. It's dictated by a mistrust to the previous management. So Saniona is now, after the restructuring, again a Scandinavian biopharmaceutical company. And the US operation has been closed, and future annual operating expenses has been reduced with about 75%. So 1 month in the old company will be 4 months in the new company. We transform this company into a more focused and cost-effective organization that leverages our core strengths within ion channel and development, and all the values in the lead assets such as Tisomedicine 711 and 903 have been preserved. And we are now focusing on establishing partnerships on these assets to generate non-dilutive funding and become less dependent on the financial market. We know that this model works. Until I left in 2020, we have gained significant experience with business development, and I've made a lot of deals, which has generated sales for more than about 400 million Swedish crowns from partnerships. We are still entitled to receive earnouts from many of these deals, milestones and royalties. The deal making have many types. So we have research collaboration with Janssen and Pfizer and Boehringer Ingelheim. We have also made mid-size development agreements with mid-sized companies such as Medix. And we have made spin-outs, Initiator Pharma and Scandion Oncology, where we have capitalized the value by selling shares when the companies were listed as the Nasdaq Stockholm, or in connection with a trade sale with one of the companies. And also in Initiator Pharma's case, we have distributed the shares to our shareholders through Lexexia in Sweden. So we are significantly clear, we know that this model works. I have a strong team behind me, who will help me on the operational level, but also on the BD activities. So Karin Sania has taken up the role as Chief Scientific Officer. Janus Larsen is heading the development. Anita Milan will take over as CFO, and Palle Christoffersen is VP of Research. And Karin, Janus, and Palle, they have a deep knowledge of these programs. They have worked together with Big Pharma and biotech for more than 20 years. They have been sitting in steering committees, and I have worked with them on business development in the past. They have strong communication skill. They can speak with everybody, and so forth. In addition to this, we have several consultants, including a medical doctor who will take over the role as Chief Medical Officer at part-time basis, and then a business development person in the US who has a deep knowledge about the clinical programs, including the 2 indications, Prader-Willis and hypothalamic obesity. So this slide illustrates our pipeline. And on the top, you have Tesofensin, which is partnered with Medix. And Medix has conducted a successful phase 3 study for general obesity and filed for market approval in Mexico. The regulatory process has taken longer than expected due to COVID. We understand now that Medix had a meeting with the regulatory agency in May, but we also understand that from a Twitter communication from the agency that they cannot support registration at this point in time. And we hope to get a clarification very soon. Medix has commercial license in Mexico and Argentina. We are entitled to double-digit royalties, which could provide additional income to the company in the coming period. And in case of a positive outcome, we will also have the option to roll the program out in South America and certain Asian countries. Below you have Tisomed, which is developed for the 2 rare indications, Prader-Willi syndrome and hypothalamic obesity. And Saniona has an open IND in the US and several other countries to start phase 2B studies. And these have been put on hold due to funding limitation at this point. And now we are actually positioning for partnering. And then below that, you have SAN 711. This compound is designed to increase the efficacy of specific neurons found in the spinal cord. which controls the pain signaling to the brain. We have strong data in animal models of chronic pain, the trigeminal system, and also for itching. So it has many potential indications, including migraine. We expect to report top-line data for this phase 1 study over the summer. And the study includes also a PET scan study where we can see the receptor coverage, the coverage of the receptors, relevant receptors in the spinal cord. And this information is very useful for us for the design of the phase 2 studies, since it tells us what dose we would need in humans to obtain full benefit of the compound. So this program is also positioned for partnering at this point. And then finally, we have SAN903, which is blocking a calcium-activated potassium channel expressed by many immune cells and fibroblasts. And the product is designed to prevent proliferation and expression of cytokines by activating immune cells and fibroblasts. And this means that this product will be able to prevent inflammation and fibrosis, or scarring, if you will, which is involved in many chronic diseases. We have strong animal data both in rare diseases such as idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, as well as in more common diseases such as inflammatory bowel disease. We are currently planning to keep this product for internal development and hope to start phase 1 studies around year end. So in addition to this, we have a very interesting, strong discovery platform for development of new therapeutics within ion channels. And ion channels have been validated for treatment for various diseases, including the diseases of the central nervous system. This important class of targets represent a huge opportunity for developing new therapies, since only 20% of the known ion channels have been utilized for development of new drugs. And we have worked in this field for more than 20 years. We have generated a large library of ion channel compounds, and we have a huge number of data that has been integrated into a proprietary database, which can be utilized for future programs. And this platform may also be used for partnering, as we have demonstrated with collaboration with companies like Pfizer and Janssen and more recently Boehringer Ingelheim. So this slide illustrates how our ion channel engine. So CNS drug discovery is an iterative process. It requires various disciplines such as chemical design, precision biology, in vivo stability, target engagement, translation, and in vivo pharmacology. We have all those disciplines in-house. We are only outsourcing wet chemistry to a long-term partner in India. And the data from all these compounds are collected, or is collected to integrate into a database where it is compared to the predicted physical, chemical, and biological characteristics. And this enables us to fine-tune our modeling and design new compounds. And then the process goes on like that. We have several years said that we have more than 20,000 compounds. I haven't counted them, but we probably are closer to 30,000 by now. We are generating new compounds every day, which are tested for all sorts of properties and integrated into our database. So this platform is getting stronger every day. So this platform has really delivered many clinical assets over time, including SAN711 and SAN903. But we have further programs just below the waterline of this iceberg you see here. We have informed the market that we will select a new candidate for formal preclinical development very soon, which is illustrated here with SAN-XXX. And then we have SAN-XXY, which is in lead optimization. And this means it's a little bit behind the other one, and where we may be able to select a candidate within 12 to 18 months. So sometimes next year, late next year. These two compounds, SAN-XXX and SAN-XXY, are positioned for different types of epilepsy. They modulate two different ion channels, which have generated significant interest in the pharmaceutical world. And we believe that we have two very attractive and compelling programs here. In addition to this, we're also working on two partner research programs. One with Boehringer Ingelheim in schizophrenia, where we recently informed that it has been advanced to full hit-to-lead program. And a program in joint venture called Cephagenix within migraine, which is advancing very nicely too. These programs are funded by partners and are actually covering 1/3 of our total research cost for the time being. So these are the active program. And as you see, there are other programs on the sideline on the left, which where one is close to candidate selection. And we can, in this way, develop a quite broad program through research, which will fuel our clinical pipeline. And this also means that we could build up a new clinical pipeline fast if we are going to out-license Tesomet and SAN-711 in the coming year. So going back to my original slide in the beginning, we have significant number of assets, and there are multiple possible paths forwards. We have our ion channel drug discovery platform, which we expect to deliver a steady stream of new clinical candidates. We intended to develop SAN-903 internally and plan to initiate phase 1 clinical study by the end of the year. The candidate has many potential indications, including rare diseases such as idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. We are currently exploring the out-license opportunities for SAN-711 and Tesomet. But it cannot be ruled out that we will actually out-license SAN-903 instead and keep one of those compounds. And if we were to retain SAN-711, then I think we will conduct a basket phase 2A study comprising a relatively small group of patients with different indications, such as trigeminal neuralgia, migraine, neuropathic pain, and pruritus. The aim is to explore the potential in each indication for our further clinical development. We may also retain Tesomet, and in that case, I think we will start with hypothalamic obesity. It is a much easier patient population to work with than for Prader-Willi syndrome. We have very strong data in hypothalamic obesity. The recruitment will be faster. The investigator and key opinion leader, Ulla Feldt Rasmussen, is very supportive and enthusiastic about developing this Tesom product in this indication. And then many of the patients in the proof of concept study who had been on drug for close to 12 months, they really like to continue using the drug. So this is a very strong sign. The market is there, and the risk is much lower, I see it. So it's a low-hanging fruit, and in case of funding constraints, I would prioritize hypothalamic obesity and some of our earlier compounds. So summing up, and on upcoming milestones, we expect top-line data from phase 1 study for SAN-711 in healthy volunteers here by midsummer. Also by midsummer, we will complete the preclinical development for SAN-903, which means it will be phase 1 ready. And also this year, we hope to have a clarification about tisofensin for general obesity in Mexico. And we select a new candidate into our pipeline. And finally, we expect to and could be able to announce a partnering deal for one of our lead assets within the next 6 to 9 months. Thank you for your attention.
Thomas, för din presentation. Jag upplever att du är ganska positiv inställd till bolaget just nu. Har jag fått rätt uppfattning av dig?
Ja, det är helt riktigt uppfattat. Alltså, det har som jag säger, en helt fantastisk pipeline och en bra discovery-plattform som verkligen har levererat. Och vi har några aktiver som vi kan gå ud og sælge og gøre os mindre afhængige af markedet, det finansielle marked for tiden. Hvilket bliver vigtigt, fordi det er tuffe tider i biotech.
Mm. Ser du någonting positivt av den här krisen som ni har gått igenom nu? Oftast är det ju som så att det kommer ut i alla fall någonting positivt, men hur upplever du det? Har ni lärt er någonting av det här som har gått nu under de här 2 åren?
Altså, den kris vi har haft i Saniona, tänker du?
Ja, precis.
Det är svårt att säga. Det var inte så gott. Det har varit slemt för investerarna. Jag är själv investor. Har många aktier. It has been painful. And we have learned a lot here. I think that going forward, we are still a rare disease company. We will still develop drugs for rare diseases. And our ultimate goal is actually to take a product on the market ourselves and later on a broader view. And for doing that and being successful to harvest the value of this, you need access to the US market. But that does not mean that you have to be listed in US. It does not mean that you have to have US headquarters. Other companies have done that with success in Scandinavia and such as Calliditas. And I will look to them and how they do it for going forward. You're not going back that way again, that's for sure.
Kan du på något sätt uppskatta hur viktig USA-marknaden är för er?
Excuse me?
Kan du uppskatta vad gäller er försäljning hur viktig USA-marknaden är för er? Att ni lyckats i USA när ni väl har färdiga...
The American, also the US market is by far the biggest pharmaceutical market in the world. And it's very important for rare diseases because it's one country, so to say, with the same language. It's much easier when you get on the market. And they are also early adapters. So they're faster to take up products than in Europe. So success in US has to be the case, if that was your question.
Mm. Ja.
Okay.
TSM1 är ju nu så att säga då stoppat det kliniska testet. Men kommer ni att fortsätta när det blir lättare för er att få in kapital från marknaden?
So the plan right now is we exploring the possibility to out-license the product to a different type of company. Probably a rare disease company already on the market where it fits into their pipeline. And the several companies have contacted us after the announcement end of March and in April. And we are reaching out to others and have a good attention to it. And the product will probably develop in partnerships. That's what we hope for. So this is where we are. And if we are not out-licensing it, as said in the presentation, then I think we will develop it internally again ourselves, but only maybe in hypothalamic obesity, where I see the risk much lower and it's much easier and faster.
Mm. Den tidigare ledningen för Saniona ville ju lansera de kommande läkemedlen själva, medan nu uppfattar jag det som att ni vill ta in partners. Kan du redogöra för lite grann fördelar och nackdelar med de här 2 olika arbetssätten?
Yeah, but so what is possible for rare diseases is that you are actually able to commercialize the product yourself and keep all the value yourself, because you don't need significant sales forces. And that is the whole idea of it. And we are still a rare disease company. We still want to go that way, but I don't think it was the right decision today to go for the US market. At least it was not successful about it the way we did it. So down the road, if it's not Tesomet, then it will be SAN 903, which will be for rare diseases, and we can go down and try that again later on, but in a different way.
Ni har ju knoppat av flera bolag här under resans gång. Finns det tankar om och möjlighet att göra fler avknoppningar?
So it's a process this is a way to do business development, you could say, and create value for our shareholders. And we have a lot of technology in Saniona, much more than you usually see in biotech companies. And we have actually made 3 spin-outs, one together with a venture firm, which was sold to Novartis, and then Scandion Oncology and Initiator Pharma, both listed at Stockholm First North. And then the final one, actually the 4th company, which we still have, is a joint venture, Cephagenics, where we have 30% of the shares, and which is funded by the partner at this point, or where we do the work. So it's an ongoing process. It's a way to develop new assets, you could say. So yeah, it could happen again. Of course it could.
Stort tack Thomas för att du ville vara med ikväll och presentera Saniona för oss.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Bye bye.